us about yourself.
Good morning. My name is Rebecca Saltzman. I've served as your BART director for the past 12 years, and now I'm excited to run for El Cerrito City Council. I'm running for City Council because all that I've learned on the BART board and my advocacy at Bike East Bay and the California League of Conservation Voters have prepared me to serve my city. My vision is an El Cerrito where everyone can thrive, everyone feels safe, and everyone knows that their city is doing its part to address the many challenges we face, from the housing affordability crisis to the climate crisis. As a council member, I will provide fiscal oversight to the city budget to preserve the services and staff that make El Cerrito such a great place to live. I will help create new homes for people of all incomes and backgrounds. As a BART director, I've led on bringing 743 new homes to the El Cerrito Plaza BART station, with nearly half of them affordable. I'm an environmental champion. I've worked to keep our environment clean and our streets safe for everyone. And as a council member, I will help create a San Pablo Avenue where it is easy and safe to bike, walk, and take transit, a San Pablo Avenue that revitalizes our community and our local businesses. El Cerrito is my daughter's starting TK at a public school on Monday, and we plan to keep her in El Cerrito public schools throughout her education. My wife and I take our daughter to the swim center and the library, and we enjoy walking along the Ohlone Greenway and hiking through the Hillside Natural area. I want El Cerrito to be the best it possibly can be. I'm a proven leader. As BART director, I helped modernize the El Cerrito del Norte BART station and transform BART into one of the largest housing creators in the region. I made BART more equitable by passing a 50% discount for low-income riders. I've also improved safety at BART by spearheading the BART Police Department's award-winning Progressive Policing Bureau, which has added unarmed ambassadors and crisis intervention specialists to help people in crisis. I know how to secure resources for government agencies, how to build and grow coalitions, and how to manage organizations large and small, from multi-county government agencies to national issue-based nonprofit organizations. I'm proud to be supported by dozens of elected officials and organizations, including the Contra Costa Building and Construction Trades Council, Equality California, State Senator Nancy Skinner, Assemblymember Buffy Wicks, County Supervisor John Joya, the entire El Cerrito City Council, including Mayor Tessa Rudnick, Mayor Pro Tem Carolyn Weisinger, Councilmember Gabe Quinto, Councilmember Lisa Motoyama, Councilmember Paul Fideli, and so many more. And I hope to earn your support today.
To make it fair, and then you'll all get the same question. El Cerrito is meeting their regional housing needs allocation numbers. What is your position on housing in El Cerrito?
Well, I'm glad we're all pro housing. I certainly am too. I've been a leader on this on the BART board. I helped pass our transit-oriented development policy, as well as our affordable housing policies that set a system-wide goal of at least 35% affordable units at our BART stations. And then a few years ago, we added another component, which was discounting our land, different discounts depending how much affordability is offered and how deep a level of affordability it is. So I think that's really critical for public land. There's not a ton of the public land available in El Cerrito, but the BART stations are a key place to make sure we're really maximizing those affordable units there, because it's more challenging on the privately owned land. I think what El Cerrito has done for housing has been really incredible, and I want to see it do more. Even as El Cerrito has entitled so many units, and many have been built, many haven't been built yet. It's not necessarily El Cerrito's fault. It's a challenging market right now with interest rates. So we need to ensure all of those entitled units actually get built and help the developers get there, so that we can continue to meet our RHNA requirements and go beyond that. Because we're not an island. We're dependent on the whole Bay Area and Contra Costa County aren't meeting the requirements. We need to do better. And the sad thing is, housing affordability has gotten worse in El Cerrito in the past 5 years, in the past 10 years. It used to be quite an affordable place to live. It's still more affordable than some of our neighboring cities, but we need to do better. So I think we need to continue what the city has done, but do even more and get creative, not just on the development on San Pablo and at the BART stations, but look what we can do in the neighborhoods with duplexes, triplexes, things like that.
Thank you, Rebecca. El Cerrito has established several reserve funds and struggled to balance the budget this year. What is your perspective on El Cerrito expenditures? Rebecca? Expenditures.
So just stepping back, I think the crisis that happened 4 years ago, that I'm so grateful that people like Lisa and the other council members got us through that crisis. But we need to keep that in mind, which was the city had burned through all of its reserves. The former city manager, it seems like, had been hiding some information, and former city council weren't asking the questions to figure out, to see that hidden information. So it's really critical moving forward that we have folks on the council who are going to look really closely at the data and ask the right questions to ensure nothing like that happens again. So given that, we are in a better situation right now. We do have strong reserves right now. I think it is appropriate to sometimes use small amounts of the reserves when needed, but ideally you don't dip into them at all. At BART, even with our big financial crisis, throughout the pandemic, we have not touched our reserves. We did a lot of work to get federal funding and state funding, but that's put us in a position where in the next year, there's supposed to be a financial gap. And if needed, that can be covered with the reserves because we held on this long without touching our reserves. So I think that's really important to do when you can. It's true the revenue is volatile and some of that we can't control. There's, state level decisions, some of them that happened a long time ago, like Prop 13, that just makes it really challenging for cities. But given that, we need to do what we can to increase stable revenues, be careful with expenses, and continue to protect those reserves.
Thank you. El Cerrito needs to replace several of its aging buildings, including the library, public safety building, community center. What are your thoughts on capital improvements in El Cerrito? Rebecca?
Thank you. I agree. It's really critical to replace our aging buildings, and we need to prioritize and get the buy-in from the citizens. This is something I have a lot of experience with. It was a core reason I ran for the BART board. The system was crumbling at the time, and we started redirecting a lot of our operating budget, which at the time was robust, to capital reinvestment. And we also went out to the voters and passed a bond measure, which was challenging to do, 3 counties. But we did it, and now we're making huge reinvestments in the system, and the system is more reliable. We don't have that scale at El Cerrito, but this is something I know how to do. I think the library, it's so important to replace it and to think of it as beyond a library. A library is not just a place to get books. It's a place to go be with community. It's a place to go study. It's a place to find a job. It's a place to get counseling. It's a place for students to go, for seniors to go. And it can be that if we have the appropriate space. But we need to communicate that to El Cerrito. We need to be transparent with the finances. I'm not sure why it took till a couple months ago to put out the full financial plan for the library. I'm glad that's out there now, but we need to be doing this stuff earlier. I agree with William on that. We need to do better to get citizens on board. But I just had a reminder of how substandard of a size our library is. I was just up in Guerneville this week and I went to their library, which was really sweet. It's about the same size as El Cerrito's library. The population of Guerneville is under 5,000 people. So that's the right size for their community. It is not the right size for our community. So we have to prioritize this and we have to do a better job getting citizens on board so we can pass a measure.
Thank you, Rebecca. El Cerrito is working on the Climate Action Plan. What is your vision on how El Cerrito can address climate change? Rebecca?
I think the main way we need to address climate change is by reducing the amount people travel in their cars. It's very clear from the climate action plan, though we've reduced our greenhouse gas emissions in El Cerrito, that's almost solely because of the transition to clean energy, which is fantastic. But if we don't stop driving our cars as much, our greenhouse gas emissions are going to go up. So we need to make it easier and safer for people to walk and bike and take transit. We're going to start seeing this next week when kids go back to school. The traffic is going to be jammed again in El Cerrito. A lot of folks who go to these schools are within a distance where you can walk and bike, but they don't feel safe or they don't know how to do it. So we need to have a lot more resources and work with the schools and get more people out of their cars when they can. That's the real way we're going to address climate change.
Okay, thank you. What programs or initiatives will you promote for El Cerrito? Rebecca?
We've already talked about a lot of them. So housing, the new library, improving walking and biking, improving financial transparency. But I want to talk about something we haven't talked about yet that's really critical for El Cerrito, which is preventing fires and protecting our community in the case of fires. We are surrounded by natural areas, which is fantastic in terms of using them, but there are a lot of fire hazards. So there's a good plan that the city has and is close to adopting for the Hillside Natural area. But once we have that plan, we need to fund it and we need to fund ongoing maintenance of these areas. We also need to work with homeowners to make sure they know what's safe and what is not safe in terms of fires. So there's a lot of work to be done on this issue, and we can't wait until the fire is here or it will be too late. We must protect El Cerrito citizens in our homes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Rebecca, closing statement.
Thanks so much for inviting me to be a part of this forum. Serving on the BART board for the past 12 years has been a tremendous honor, and it's now time for me to make an even bigger impact on El Cerrito, the city that my family and I love. I know how government works at the local, regional, state, and federal levels, and I will enter City Hall with a broad range of experience, expertise, and connections that will help me bring out the best in El Cerrito. That's why I'm supported by the entire El Cerrito City Council, state and regional elected leaders, and labor and community leaders. I've been a member of this club for over a decade and have had the support of the El Cerrito Democratic Club for my 3 campaigns for BART board, and I'd be honored to earn your support again today. And you can learn more about me at www.rebeccaforelcerrito.com, and my contact info is there, so please reach out.
And thank you, Rebecca.